Hello and welcome to the East Lampeter Township Public Meeting. All participants are now informed that this meeting is being recorded. This meeting is also being offered virtually utilizing Zoom, which is a cloud-based platform for remote video and audio conferencing. The Zoom application is free to the public. The general public is therefore able to join the meeting by connection through the internet or by calling in by phone. The public is also able to observe the meeting on the Township's YouTube channel. Please continue to check the Township website calendar for any updates related to these public meetings. Agendas for these public meetings will also be available on the Township's website. Please be reminded that this meeting is being video and audio recorded and will be posted to the Township's YouTube channel for viewing. The meeting will now proceed with the chairman calling the meeting to order and identifying all other members present in the meeting room and those joining the meeting via Zoom. The chairman will then confirm those members joining by Zoom can be heard.
All right, good evening and welcome to the meeting of the East Lampeter Township Board of Supervisors for Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023. Joining me in the room this evening is Supervisor Roger Root, Supervisor Corey Meyer, Supervisor Ethan Demi, and Supervisor Mike Thornton, along with staff. There's no one from the board or staff visiting us tonight through Zoom. If you would please rise and join me in pledging allegiance to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This evening we have item number 3, the Board of Supervisors reorganization, which we do at the beginning of each year, the first meeting of the year. So 3A, we need to appoint a temporary chair. I'd like to ask Corey Meyer if he would serve as our temporary chair, the election of chairman.
I'm honored. Accept nomination for chairman. Motion's been made. Nomination for John Blowers. Is there a second? Second by Mike. Any other nominations? Okay, I'll close the nominations. We'll take a voice vote for Chairman John Blowers. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, congrats, our chair.
Thank you, Corey. Appreciate that. Thanks for your support, guys. We have item number 3C. We have an election of vice chair. Do we have names to put forward for vice chair?
Motion to approve Corey Meyer as vice chairman of the East Lampeter Township Board of Supervisors.
Motion for Corey as vice chair. Is there a second? Okay. Seconded by Ethan. Mike made the motion. Ethan made the second. Any other names? Hearing none, we'll close the process. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Corey. Appreciate it for your for help and your support. Okay, item number 4. We have public comment. Anything coming through online, guys?
None.
Okay, thank you. There is no one in the room, so we'll move on to item number 5, the consent agenda. We have 5A, approval of the January 3rd, 2023 Board of Supervisors meeting agenda. 4B, approval of the minutes of the Monday, December 19th, 2022 regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors. And 5C, approval to pay invoices from all of our funds, a total of $141,049.50. It looks like no items are being noted at this point. Is there any public comments about the consent agenda? No? Okay. All right. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Corey, second by Ethan. Questions or concerns? Hearing none. Those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you. Item number 6, annual appointments. Rob, it's my understanding we can do all of these at one time. Is that correct?
Well, I don't think so.
Oh, we've got a resolution,
The
don't we?
resolution's in there at item E, so I think you could do A through D
Yep.
in one motion. And then the rest of them, I think, probably keep individuals.
Resolution would have to go by itself. Okay, so item number A, appointment of the solicitor, Blakinger Thomas Law Firm, Susan Pfeiffer in particular. Item number 6B, the appointment of the township engineer and alternates, David Miller Associates, Becker Engineering, HRG Incorporated, Grove Miller Engineering, and McMahon Associates. 6C, appointment of the vacancy board chairman, Dave Buckwalter, has agreed. We're grateful for Dave to do that. And 6D, appointment of our depositories, Plidget, M&T, CNB Bank, and Univest Bank. So items number A through D under 6.
Is there a motion to accept the annual appointments A through D as presented?
There's a second. That's seconded by Corey. Motion by Mike, seconded by Corey. Questions or concerns? Hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you. And then we'll go into individual items. 6E, we have a resolution in reference to the appointment of the CPA firm to perform the 2022 audit, Herbine and Co. They are doing audits for the Industrial Commercial Development Authority. So is there a motion? Any public comments? Thank you. Well, I appreciate your very quiet but very beautiful mind.
Just a clarification on process. Are we supposed to get the motion first, then get public comment?
That would be my suggestion.
So John, in the new year as chair,
Thank you.
you should follow
Thank you. Well, yeah, all right.
it.
So,
I'll make a motion
thank you.
for a resolution regarding appointment of CPA firm to audit providing company.
Okay, motion by Corey, second by Roger. Questions or concerns? Hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
So just for clarity, is it after the second motion that any comment is supposed to be made?
Generally,
whether it's from us or
Yeah, Robert's rules, and Ethan can correct me on this. And you gotta have a motion to get something on the table. Then you gotta get it seconded. Once you get it seconded, now we can all kinds of discussion, which is why I tend to ask Mike questions or concerns. So, okay.
And that could imply the public as well.
Yeah, right. That's my point. Okay, thank you.
6F, the appointment of the PSATs conference delegates and voting delegate. So we are all welcome and encouraged to attend. We have in the past appointed all of us as conference delegates, but we need a voting delegate, and always done, and I think it's a good practice to have Ralph as our voting delegate. And really works out well because at least we don't attend, so. Anyway, appointment of PSATs conference delegates and voting delegate. Is there a motion? And if so, please capture who and who should be.
Motion to appoint Ralph Hutchinson as our voting delegate for PSATs and supervisors as conference delegates.
Motion by Ethan. Is there a second? Second by Roger. Second by Roger. Okay, John.
The only thing I would ask is if anybody knows that they definitely will not be going, that would be helpful to know. Then we would spend the registration dollars.
Should we tell you that now, or should we tell you that?
What are the dates?
I usually cannot.
Yes, it's that the last week. Close to the last week in April. So 24th, 25, 26.
23rd through 26th.
Correct.
There's no way I can go.
I mean, appointing everybody as delegates is fine, but
Sure.
then just before we submit the registration, just let me know.
Okay. Ethan, Mike, you guys good with that as well too? Just as you know, as you like to take shape around these events. I have, right now, I'm going to be with another organization. I'm going to be away in May, but okay, we'll keep that in mind. Thank you, Ralph. So there's a motion on the table by Ethan, second by Roger, questions or concerns? Hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Okay, the motion carries. 6G, appointments to the Lancaster County Tax Collection Board. The Bureau, sorry about that, Lancaster County Tax Collection Bureau. We've always relied upon you, Ralph. And you were there at the groundbreaking, I believe.
We broke some eggs, yeah.
But the alternate, and I don't recall the individual's name from
Jenna Seaschultz is the manager.
Westville, Janice. Okay, so Jenna Cecil. Is there any relation to our Cecil? Spelled differently. Is there a motion?
Motion to appoint Ralph Hutchinson as a representative to LCTCB board and Jenna Seasolz as the alternate.
Second. Motion by Ethan, second by Corey. Questions? None. Those in favor? Aye. Opposed? A motion carries. Thank you. And then 6H, appointments of SEO and alternate. Marvin Stoner and Dale Hunt.
He was sewage enforcement officer, so they're involved in all the on-lot systems in the township.
Make a motion to appoint Marvin Stoner and Dale High respectively as our SEO and alternates.
Second.
Motion by Ethan, second by Mike. Questions, Hunter?
I have a question. So are they self-employed?
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
They're not township employees,
They're not
so
township, so
we
they're-
pay them on a fee basis.
Okay.
Okay, good, makes sense. All right, further questions, comments? Okay, hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you. 7 next. We've got appointments to vacant positions and reappointments. There may be a couple of items on here that we want to perhaps fill in that might not have been on the agenda itself, Ralph, that the public saw. So let me try my best here. So can we do all these in one?
Yes.
At least A. If we can do all of this together.
Right, that's good. Yes, I thought that's what you're asking.
Okay, sorry. So let's do it. So 7A, we've got Emergency Services Committee. We've got 2-year terms ending 12/31 of 24. So we've got Hand in Hand Fire Company representative is Paul Fisher. Lafayette Fire Company alternate representative is Dave Keynes. Lafayette Fire Company citizen representative is Eric Bergstrom. Bronx Fire Company representative Dave Gribble. Whitmer Fire Company alternate representative is Michael Kramer. Whitmer Fire Company citizen representative is Chad Engler. Township Supervisor alternate representative Roger Root. Thank you, Roger. At this point, we do not have a township citizen representative. The board will work on that and get that back to staff.
Motion to accept the appointment to the Emergency Services Committee positions as presented, 2-year term ending 12/31/24.
Motion by Mike, second by Corey. Questions?
Would be 1
You're second, correct, Mike. Thank you. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Mike, for doing that. We have, we're going to, Ralph, I think 7B was on the agenda. Is that correct? Is that not? We're going to
As listed on the agenda is correct. I had listed in your memo a different 7B, which should not have been listed there.
Okay, so what is on our agenda tonight?
7B. So Lafayette, Dave Keynes has been the Lafayette Fire Company representative. He's decided to step back. His term doesn't expire until the end of this year, 23. So they've appointed or nominated Jason Byler to fill the remainder of that term.
So 7B, the appointment of Jason Byler to serve the unexpired term ending 12/31 of 23. I do the next one, just doing both together, 7C. the Emergency Services Committee appointment to fill the unexpired term ending of 12/31/23 for the Bronx Fire Company alternate representative. And that individual is Nate Church.
Correct. What happened there was that Steve Gribble had been the representative. Dave Gribble's now been appointed as the representative, who had been the alternate representative. And so his unexpired term would now be filled by Nate Church.
So thank you. And then 7D, there is a appointment to the Industrial and Commercial Development Authority with a 5-year term ending 1/16/27. Ethan, would you be willing to serve on that? Okay, good. So we've got Ethan Demi being appointed for a 5-year term ending 1/16/27. Nate Church, 12/31/23, and Jason Byler, 12/31/23 to the Emergency Services. Okay, is there a motion?
Make a motion to appoint these folks to the Emergency Services Committee and ICDA as presented.
Is there a second? Second by Roger. Motion by Ethan, second by Roger. Thank you. Questions, concerns? Hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you. We have the establishment of the treasurer's bond.
Annual activity, I am the treasurer by ordinance. And we bonded each month. And this is an amount that has been same for a number of years. We always have the auditing firm review it, and they've recommended that it not be changed. So recommend bond in the amount of $740,000.
How did they come up with that?
It's supposed to be an approximation of how much money would be on hand at any given time that the treasurer would have access to. In my view, that's a lot more than the treasurer would really ever have access to, because we've got all sorts of other internal controls, 2 signatures on every check. So I think we have more dollars than that in the bank, but so I guess the answer is I'm not sure.
I never asked.
Yeah. Here.
All right, so is there a motion that on item number 8, $740,000 treasury account?
Recommendation, motion to approve the treasurer's bond amount of $740,000.
Motion by Roger, second by Mike. Question? Okay, hearing none. Those in favor? Aye. Those opposed, the motion carries. Thank you. Old business. We have a request for financial security release for the reserve at Greenfield, Pitney Road. We're still on that.
Did have some funds left because the stormwater facilities were not functioning correctly for some time.
Now it is.
Now, yes,
So through inspection and correction, things were right. Okay.
that's correct. That's correct.
We've had other projects that have gone longer than this.
Oh, yeah, no, it's up, yeah, it's been here. Well, it just, I figured this was clean and, okay. All right.
So the financial security eyes, as an example, they would always be the ones that push for the release of funds, right? So then that triggers an action from your office.
Typically, when we have a request for a release or a reduction of financial security, the township engineer is sent out to inspect the site to see where we are in the plan development, and then you get a recommendation from the township engineer as to whether or not to reduce or release funds.
And in most cases, it's reducing, right?
Until the end of the project, when it's
right,
finalized,
okay.
yes.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. All right. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion for full release of financial security for the Reserve of Greenfield.
Is there a second? Okay, motion by Ethan, second by Mike. Any questions or concerns? All understand what we're looking at? Those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10, new business. We've got a resolution in reference to the DEP sewer planning module for Paradise Energy number 22-17-2985 Lincoln Highway East.
The board conditionally approved this plan recently. And one of the conditions of approval is that they complete the required sewage planning process. That requires the board to adopt a resolution. They will be connected to the public sewer system and have estimated that it will require 6 EDUs to serve that new business.
Okay. I've got a question about that. I don't know if I told them the same. Are they vacating the building that they're in and then moving everything into the township?
They are moving both the broadband and the solar into the township, whether or not they're disposing of the other property I am on.
Good, thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the resolution regarding the planning module as presented.
A second? Motion by Ethan, second by Roger. Those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 11, action items. We've got a resolution in reference to the police officer contributions. The pension fund, 5%.
Right, these are for employee contributions to the pension fund. The Auditor General's office requires that the township adopt a resolution annually. It's been included in all of the collective bargaining agreements. As that announced. For the police, and then the next one, which you'll have to act on separately, is really the same explanation for the non-uniform.
Motion to approve the resolution regarding the police pension plan, police officer contributions of 5% as presented.
A second? Motion by Ethan, second by Mike. Questions or concerns? Hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Carries, thank you.
Motion to approve the resolution regarding non-uniformed contributions and 3%.
Second. Motion by Ethan, second by Corey. Questions? Hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. That's 11C, mileage rate approval. IRS rate is 65.5-ish, something like that.
5.5 cents.
5.5 cents a mile.
You can put ish into the system.
Incorrectly listed on the agenda is 2.5 cents. It's actually just gone up 3 cents.
Good.
Motion to approve mileage rate at the IRS rate of 65.5.
Second. Motion by Mike, second by Corey. Questions? Hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. 11D, transfer of the file in reference to the bond council.
We just received this communication from bond counsel and then on the board at Cable Company. Fired by this accident stuff, and so they would like to transfer the township and authority file. The authority will have to present their meeting. Those files to the new firm, so they're asking for that permission, and would require for that.
Motion?
Motion to approve, to transfer the file of the bond council to Baxter and Stump as presented.
For a second? Okay, motion by Ethan, second by Corey. Questions? Hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? And the motion carries. But Ralph, before we jump into your manager's report, we didn't have anyone from the public here. I thought we may have someone here. We didn't. And just if we can, it was a short meeting and
All good.
You already lost your bet anyway, Chris. We had a member of the public who had come to us over the past year, 279 Strasburg. The last name is Obiama. And we had a discussion. Obviously, there was no formal petition made by that individual, but there was a discussion, and we hadn't had a chance as a board to have a discussion. I thought, let's throw it out there. Ralph said, there's someone here from the public, you could do it then. If not, you choose when. So just looking for this board's response to the discussions. I've tried to capture what I had heard from all of us. I didn't capture it in minutes detail, in minutes, but just a sense of what we were doing. I tried to capture that myself so I could have a sense of where my thoughts were in this, and just looking for the board's discussion thoughts on the presentation by Ms. Obiama over the past two meetings that we had with them. So thoughts, I'll just throw it out there. Mike, go ahead.
Right there.
Oh, you raised your finger.
I know I put a note stick on.
Okay. You just saw a finger go up there. It's all right. Through his device. We can.
I could provide some quick.
Go ahead. Yeah,
comments.
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
This is what I indicated. I kicked out a rough draft of the big piece. And the big piece philosophically, which I've stated many times, so I won't state it again, but the board has done a really good job over the years of shifting from regulating use to regulating impact. And so we have lots of ordinances and ordinances that regulate impact of noise. We have stormwater, we have sewer, we have parking. All of those are impacts on neighbors, and those are better ways to regulate. Regulating the use isn't as important to me. So what I had drafted basically mimicked that of right now on that same property, they could put in 5-unit bed and breakfast. And that's that they have the bedrooms so that the sewer already is there for that. So it's a matter of they would still have to make they would still have the same impacts on the neighbors would be there with the bed and breakfast. This would be there if those residents were sleeping in a canvas tent rather than sleeping in rooms in the house. So to me, limiting that impact to being similar to what is already allowed by right on that property would seem to be the most reasonable way forward. And then if there are concerns about the impact in our current zoning of items like bed and breakfast, then we should address those and have good public discussion on whether we should allow those.
Okay.
My feeling on it is certainly I understand the passion that the people that were presenting certainly have for it. I really got the impression, especially at the last meeting, that they have this vision for, as they described it, a boutique type of use, which when I hear the word boutique, I guess that could be interpreted by people as meaning several different things, but very specific. And I think you have to be careful with an ordinance where now you're getting so specific on a use that the ordinance that you spend time in, and I'm discovering the time and effort that goes into that. You're sort of going around that general development of an ordinance. It's so close to me to the existing ordinances we have. We have camping, we have bed and breakfast. You want an Airbnb. There are things that cover the use of it. Now, the specific piece of connecting it to a historical building, I'm having trouble connecting glamping to the appreciation of the historical building. You can actually say that I would view staying in the building, as you've said, Ethan, like, you could convert this into a bed and breakfast or something like that. So I actually think that there's something that is we should be very cautious about trying to be so specific on something and adjusting an ordinance for a particular use when very similar uses are already in place. That's the piece that I see the most. Also, in general, see the location fitting the character of the area. but some of the neighbors presenting their position on it was, they were very compelling, I think, especially with the idea that you can enjoy a historic building and all the amenities of it without creating another campsite type of activity. So I'm very hesitant to approve that.
Mike. Corey,
Yeah, actually, I don't have much to add to what Mike said. I agree with his thoughts and comments. I guess my only point to Ethan's comment, bed and breakfast to me is mostly indoors. And, I think, sure, you could have a bed and breakfast, you could have an outdoor fire. You could have people outside the bed and breakfast sitting around that fire. But to me, camping, glamping would be a different use. It would be, I think there would be different noise impact. There'd be different, I think the traffic probably would be the same, based on their last comments, not the initial request, because it definitely decreased in size as the more they spoke in public sessions. But to me, the noise is the biggest difference in those uses.
Okay. Roger?
Parts that concern me is the, actually when you physically map out that property, you have a floodplain in the back, you have their defined historical barn sits almost on Strasburg Pike. Sanitation. Whatever they're describing their tent pads, like that, permanent, semi-permanent. My view is just numerous challenges trying to come up with a glamping ordinance or a description of what's actually going to happen on that property. Traffic is traffic. I'm not sure any municipality in the whole country has a solution for traffic. So we're going to hear that. We're going to hear that from now. So none of us serve in our capacities as township employees or supervisors. That's going to come up every time. So for me, traffic can be analyzed. It can be worked around. Traffic is traffic.
Okay. I've tried to talk to everybody here on the board and take the temperature. Ethan and I have had this conversation several times about zoning and what role does local government have, or what role should local government have? Where can it have its best impact? Where does it stand in the way? Where does it facilitate and help things? And the point that Ethan makes about regulating impact versus use. It does have its arguments. It does have its case. Ethan, you pointed out, I think stormwater. You mentioned that just recently. There is a case to be made for looking at impact versus use, and then working to minimize impact or direct impact or guide and help the community to understand the impact. And so there are ways in which we need to do that, and we should continue to do it. I still say that I still believe that there is a place, in particular in, a suburbanized community that has a significant rural and agricultural sector, that there is a place for zoning. I think most of us would recognize that, a 5-story hotel, on Rockville Road would probably change the character of Rockville Road. And so we work to utilize our commercial areas to try to push the hotels, the high-rise hotels into certain areas of Berwick, that there's infrastructure there to carry it. And infrastructure is key with me, and zoning and infrastructure work together. If I had to summarize my view at this point of this specific situation, the parcel of land, in my estimation, is just not meant for putting 6 20-foot diameter cabins. The stormwater, the floodplain, the ingress and egress, the parking. There's so much there that our current ordinance allows for a property like that. A bed and breakfast. I do like Ethan's continued focus on the fact that there are things that this individual can do there. I agree totally. I just don't equate the campground and putting a campground there with a bed and breakfast. A bed and breakfast would maintain the footprint of the home, would maintain the historic property, the historic home. We wouldn't take the meadows south and build, a bed and breakfast on the meadow, in the form of 5 or 6 20-foot diameter cabins. It's a significant change in the character of that part of the township. I want us to keep moving towards some of the innovative ideas Ethan brings. I think there's some value there, but I think we also need to recognize that there are some ways that we've been doing some things that are tried and tested and proven, and I'm okay holding on to that. I'm okay taking steps forward as opposed to leaps forward. We haven't, I'd like to capture some of this and communicate back to the Obiamas. I think they deserve that. They put a lot of time and effort into this. I was kind of hoping that they would be here. They haven't come forward with a formal request. If they decide to do something, then I guess they decide to do something. They always approach us with something. In my estimation, I would say I just don't believe a text amendment allowing for the uses that they've outlined and the activities. I just don't believe it's in line with the vision of the community for that part of our community, the neighborhood. And I do believe that there are some wonderful, great ideas, creative ideas packed into our ordinance already that would allow for someone to economically, preserve, maintain, and even enhance that property. I'm assuming that, hey, they could come forward and want to put an ADU in the barn. I think she's got a vision for the barn. She'd like to use that. A bed and breakfast in the home. There are some great things that they could do. Our current ordinance allows for. I wouldn't want us to go down the path of putting in place the use that, in my estimation, we already have campgrounds and there are 10 camping opportunities in the area that have been. It's just okay. Maybe I'll reach out to you and I'll give you my thoughts. And reach out to the open elements and just share some of what was discussed here. So.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. Number 12, manager's report.
I put none in my notes to you, but I did want to mention at the last intermunicipal committee meeting, we heard a presentation from the city about their bike share program and desire to expand that beyond the city limits. So I've heard about it not only at the LAMC, but also at TTAC meetings. I think it's worth gathering some more information and learning more about it. And I just wanted to get some feedback from board members if you agree, or if we should not pursue that in any way, just to allocate time.
I'm assuming it's the same for you.
Yeah, so
It's not us in place.
so I've used bike share programs in multiple other cities. I've used the one in Lancaster City a little bit. They are expanding that network. The current size of it is I can walk anywhere in the city faster than I can ride a bike within that, but expanding it beyond the city to make it a commuter type thing using the same program would be, I think, a fantastic idea. So when you look at Greater Lancaster Heritage Pathway going out the new Walnut Street extension, connecting into Greenfield, where we have a lot of campuses and employment opportunities, and hack with the Bridgeport mobility study. As we implement these, putting in these bike connections where people can commute from the city to the exurbs or the metro area. And then as we build out our streetscape plan with multimodal, what we've built out, I see a lot more traffic, people even going in between stores along the Lancaster Lincoln Highway East. So using their system, I think, is a fantastic way to expand that, and it would add value to their system as well as ours. So you could park at Amtrak, or you could take a train to Amtrak, rent a bike, ride it out to Thaddeus Stevens, and park it there, and go to a meeting or a class, and then.
So my only thought of that, we're sort of talking in the next 5 years, because safety is the first thing that comes to my mind. From the city to our township. I'm not a bike person like you are, but from what I see, all the improvements that we're making, all these projects will certainly, just like you said, open it up. Now I'm kind of like, I don't know how safe that is right now. I mean, there's probably areas where it is safe, but I just say it sounds like this is growing. This will grow with almost a natural extension of when all our projects are really together in 5 years.
That's right. I would say pretty quickly, Mike, as soon as the Walnut Street Exchange gets finished,
Which would be done later this year, right?
which is scheduled for the fall.
I don't know all the pieces, but
Fall 23 here. Fall 20, yeah. It's like into 23. So pretty quickly, when that's done, Mike, you can come out the existing Walnut Street. Pretty significant berm, at least on the east side. I don't know if there's a sidewalk there or not, but I don't think so. But there's a pretty significant berm, and you'll be able to get up on the Walnut Street extension into our township pretty safely. I mean, it's all, I think, gonna play together.
I can't wait to see it.
As a commuting biker, the pinch points, the danger points, and I've ridden them all just because there's no other way. I've ridden on Route 30 when the train was blocking my one exit, or one way to get home, is the train track, the river, and Route 30. If you can find a safe way to cross any of those, then you open up your commuting traffic significantly. So the Walnut Street extension is the one where that's an immediate, that will open up commuting traffic significantly on bikes.
I would anticipate that the reserve and also Greenfield North will encourage quite a lot of, maybe not commuting right away, but at least recreational, getting onto the Van Franklin Boulevard to Walnut Street Extension and going into the city. That I can see taking off
fairly quickly, once
I
they
think
come
of
together.
three main arteries, 462, Walnut, New Holland. Like, am I right?
Yeah.
Riding a bike, it'd be like, okay, if that Walnut's gonna be a lot safer, I'd go there. I'd be careful on 462, but we have a lot of improvements coming there too. But probably now, New Holland would be, because take New Holland and how it's going to connect, even going back to Greenfield would be, to me, if we have, how many people working? There are 200 and some businesses and in the Greenfield Industrial, I mean, you're talking thousands of 2,000 people that work there.
The infrastructure we're putting in on Lincoln Highway East is one of, I'd helped a candidate a few years ago in the city, and they were asking like, why do we need bike lanes? I said, you don't need bike lanes for people who wear spandex. People who wear spandex, we know how to ride bike, and we're out. And what you need is for the people who are commuting to their job or to their education. That's where, so go out at dawn on Lincoln Highway East, and you'll see a lot more people on bikes and walking. That's where the folks are, or they're going from 7th Ward to Harrisburg Area Community College, or they're connecting out to Thaddeus Stevens. That's where the vast majority of your bike traffic happens, going to school and to work.
Did throw me off a little with the spandex, but I think
They're not wearing spandex, they're wearing work clothes. The people on spandex, we don't.
That's
need
like-
clients, we don't.
it's like super riders like you guys. Is that what you're saying? I have to wear my Dickies on the bike.
Not sure I'm.
I think we all have a pair of.
Not sure I'm envisioning Mike in it. Yeah. He was actually referring to people who do ballet dancing. All right, I think it's a good idea.
I suspect that the provider that they're using has some expertise in looking at where locations and those sorts of things. So we'll gather some more information. I think funding is going to be an issue that you want to have more information about. And we'll
Sorry, Rob, who is it exactly we're working with on that program? Is that?
I forget the name of the provider, but they've been working with the city for several years.
They're interacting with the city government.
Yeah, and they have other South Central PA cities that they also operate in. So I think part of the concept is that people in South Central PA would be acquainted with that particular vendor and be more likely to participate as a result. Just need one app.
Right, exactly. It's better when there's a network of those, so you can drop it off, at multiple places. Makes sense.
Good.
Thank you.
All right. I believe motion for adjournment.
Motion for adjournment.
Yeah, motion by Corey, second by Ethan.